Now then, settle down now, and I'll tell you what's happened. McClue's the name. Boycott McClue. I'm the policeman from round these parts, and I won't be having any nonsense from the likes of you lot. I'd better warn you right here and right now. I'm a Yorkshireman born and bred. I say what I like, and I like what I bloody well say. Now, I know you're all looking forward to a good dinner here tonight with the Dowage Lady Withering, but it ain't gonna work out like that. I'll tell you why it's not, and I'll break this to you gently. She's dead. Aye, happen she's been murdered, and by one of you lot too. I've been and had a look at the Dowager's body, and I'll tell you what I've seen. Whoever killed her used her husband's cavalry sword, and gave her just the one thrust. But I've got to tell you, that thrust was enough to penetrate her very deeply indeed. The sword entered her body under her rib cage and pierced her heart. Very sad it all is too. She were a right lovely woman, the Dowager. Even with a weapon piercing her lifeless body, she were a grand lass. Oh well, can't be helped. I'm off to do me investigating now, and I reckon as maybe you best do the same. But remember, one of you's a killer, so don't trust no one. Oh, and as my friend Shaw Taylor says, keep 'em peeled.
Stop the tape.
Now then, it's Boycott McClue again, and I got to tell you, you're a right shifty lot you are. We got Miss Emily Lloyd Bridges here, who's got some kind of foreign lover chasing after her, even though she's supposed to be getting married to someone else. I don't trust them foreigners. All that garlic and oil in their food, it's not right. Give me a nice couple of Yorkshire puddings any day. Any road, Miss Emily says she's not interested in this count. Maybe that's true, but the Dowager liked him well enough. She approved of this European Union, and she didn't approve of Sir Clifford marrying her ward. Sounds like there's plenty of room for an argument here. And someone else has definitely been having an argument with the Dowager. Eh, my Lord Withering? Maybe it's money that's lurking around at the bottom of this mystery. Or maybe it's jealousy. What do you say, Lady Caroline Mouton? And that's not a very English name either. Reckon you've had a bit of French in you. Aye, I thought so. Rival of the Dowager, weren't you? Can be a dangerous thing, rivalry between women, particularly when it's over a man. We've all been there, haven't we, Sir Clifford? We've all had the ladies fighting over us in our time. But if you really want to get your back pudding fried on both sides, you can't be too surprised when you get burnt once in a while. And the late Lord Withering were no better than nowt neither. Seems he had children with both of these ladies. His son is the current Lord Withering, thanks to the murdered Dowager, and his daughter is Miss Jane Eyre, thanks to Lady Caroline Mouton. Envy can be very ugly, Miss Jane. You must learn to learn your place. This house don't belong to you, you know. And then we've got the Reverend Brethren. Well, at least he's an honest, God-fearing gentleman. No harm can come from a man of the cloth. Well, there's still some corners to poke into yet, I think, so I'll leave you to it. But before I go, I should tell you what I've discovered. The Dowager was killed at 7:30 this evening. I know this because a watch was broken when her lifeless body fell violently to the floor, and it still tells the time of her demise. Oh, and one other thing. The Dowager had a dressing room next to her bedroom, and in that dressing room she kept her family jewels, all of them, including the Withering jewels, the most famous diamonds in the whole of Yorkshire. But the box they were kept in has been broken open and the jewels are missing. Now maybe this is why the Dowager was killed by the murderer, or murderers, because there may be more than one of you did it, I don't know. So I'm off to probe a bit more, and I'll speak to you all in a little bit.
Stop the tape and turn it over. Murder by Candlelight, Side 2.
Hey up, now we're getting somewhere, even if I don't know where. So the withering jewels that were stolen turn out not to have been stolen at all. Because Lord Withering has already been down the poor merchant and traded them in. So what does this mean? How many people knew he'd been to see his uncle? Maybe the Dowager knew, and had an even more heated argument than normal with her son. Maybe that's when he killed her. But what if no one knew? Then maybe robbery still is the motive. Possible, isn't it? Perhaps it's Lady Caroline, perhaps not. I don't know, but there's something very fishy about that woman, and I'm not over fond of fish. But these jewels aren't the whole story. Oh no, there's still the question of Reverend Brethren and his blackmailing. Trust me here, I'm a bit of an expert on the criminal mind, and I can confidently say that a man who's committed one heinous act may do another. I'm not sure that I trust the Reverend and Miss Jane Eyre anymore. They seem to be as thick as thieves, and maybe even thicker. Were they together when the murder's going on? No one knows, and no one saw either of them. Mind you, no one saw Miss Emily either. Says she was in her room reading poetry. A right state of affairs, that is, if I may be so bold. And I think I may. I've got a daughter same age as Miss Emily here, and she don't read no poetry. I wouldn't let her. Plenty of things for womenfolk to do without filling their heads with that sort of nonsense. Who knows what kind of ideas you might get from poetry? She might come over all romantic about Sir Clifford, or even his Spanish count. It's a frightening sight, is a woman in passion. Aye, and talking of Sir Clifford, I'm not so sure I like the smell of him. He seems to have a bad influence over everyone he comes into contact with. And let's not forget that he came into very close contact with the Dowager. Well, there's still a lot to be done, but I think I can see a chink of light at the end of my tunnel. I'll poke about a bit in the darkness and see what I can see. I'll see thee.
Stop the tape.
Well, happen it's been an instructive little evening. I've examined all of you, I've probed deep into you, and now I can tell you that I've uncovered the horrible truth. Count Chickensey and Susanna Heath Clifford, or Miss Cahones as she's sometimes called, both arrived too late for dinner to have been here when the killing was done, so I'm prepared to rule out both of them, but the rest of you, oh dear, oh dear. Lord Withering, you have ample reason for wanting your mother dead. You've stolen her jewels, you've pawned them, and still you need some more money. Sir Clifford, you're also not unhappy that this beautiful woman has been taken from us. She was standing in the way of your marriage to Miss Emily. Furthermore, and notwithstanding, she also knew that you weren't Sir Clifford at all. Lady Caroline, you were after the jewels that you think were rightfully yours. And I think your daughter, Jane Eyre, was after them too. But then Miss Eyre could also have been acting under the orders of Reverend Brethren, who's a very bitter and twisted man indeed. And let's not forget Miss Emily Lloyd Bridges. If the Dowager had lived, she might have changed her will and written Miss Emily out of it altogether. Hasn't done her prospects any harm, has it? Between you, you've got more motives than I could shake a stick to, and believe me, I can shake my stick with the best of them. And none of you have got an alibi that's worth tuppence. Could have been any one of you, except for one thing. Lady Caroline sent a message to the Dowager making an appointment to see her in her room. She says this was only to keep her out of the way while she stole the diamonds. If that's true, then Lady Caroline is the worst thief ever, and I'm a Dutchman. And I'm not a Dutchman. Because if it's true, then picture what happens next. Lady Caroline doesn't arrive in the Dowager's room, and the Dowager discovers the jewels are missing. Now you tell me, who's she going to suspect? It can only be Lady Caroline. This is stuff and nonsense, this is. Lady Caroline just made it up because she knows she's batting on a sticky wicket. I got to whip it back home, could think up a better story than that. I'll tell you what really happened. Lady Caroline met the Dowager. They got to arguing about the jewels, and then, in the heat of the moment, she ran the Dowager through with the cavalry sword. And you might care to remember that Lady Caroline's late husband was also a cavalryman. No doubt she got plenty of practice on his weapon. So there we have it. And so I say, Lady Caroline Mouton, I am going to have to arrest you for the murder of the very charming and very beautiful Dowager Lady Withering. Thank you all very much for your assistance this evening. Take care as you make your way home, and remember, don't have nightmares.